And now look, we're looking at Donald Trump. He's not even in the presidency all the way yet. And he's already making things happen for people.
He's claiming to have made things happen for people, but
no.
A lot of these things have already been down the Ford deal with Mexico. That was not his doing. Ford had already said we're going to do this. The carrier deal in Indiana, he didn't save as many jobs as he claims. But he did. CEO of the company came out right afterwards and said we're going to automate with the tax breaks he's given us. So
wait. So you can say what you want to, but Barack Obama, when people losing their job, he didn't do a damn thing, regardless of if Trump's policies are effective or not. We can't demonize Obama and absolve Trump for doing nothing. Wait. Let me finish my point. Let me finish. What you have here is you have someone who's trying to do something and is visibly out there trying to do something versus somebody who just doesn't give a shit and hasn't done anything and just tells you don't need anything because everything's fine. And you mean to tell me that's absolving Trump? No, I'm saying regardless of if he tries and fails, regardless of what the actual outcome of the policies are, he's actually trying to do something. And that's a marked difference from somebody who isn't even trying to do anything, who isn't even trying to fight for something.
Doing anything though, and that's where that line of thinking can get dangerous, is people are going to use that and say, well, he did something, he didn't do anything.
So
Obama didn't try to do anything, and I don't disagree with you there.
The optics of what he's doing. You have a president who's willing to intervene and tell companies not to do this or that to try to preserve jobs, to give that optic image of that. And Barack Obama,
he's a good businessman. He's a gaudy businessman. I'll give you that. But we have to call it like it is. I'll give you that. But he's ineffective.
So we have to put ineffective, but saying he's ineffective to Obama is not particularly, that's anyway. But no, Nick is right in this sense. But a lot of this comes down to people's expectations being so low based on what Obama presidency was, right? So Trump was, and what he tapped into was these grievance politics. He was the candidate of grievance. He was the only candidate of grievance in the general election, right? The Democrats shut the door on their own candidate of grievance, who I would say was Bernie Sanders, of this leftist populist grievance with the neoliberal state, right? That's what Bernie Sanders. This was a populist election. What I'm trying to say, if you didn't get one type of populist, you're going to get someone who towed the populist line. So the choice to bring up Hillary Clinton versus any kind of populist was a dangerous gamble, because you were basically relying on people enjoying the status quo more than hating it. So is what it is. But Nick is right here. So what Trump was able to do by simply getting out there and saying things that no one else was saying, he was able to get these votes, to get this support, simply because, like I said, he was giving voice to grievances that no one was giving voice to in the mainstream media. And that's not just, and people like to pretend like these were just racial grievances. They like to pretend like these were just sexist grievances. And a part of this comes down to the Democrats' desire to paint the working middle class vote as entirely white, entirely male, entirely rural, entirely Southern, basically people, the deplorables, right? Those who are deplorable by nature of birth, those who are unsalvageable. But Trump went out to factories in Detroit. He was in a factory, I believe it was in Detroit or Ohio. It might have been Ohio. I'm sorry for that. In Ohio. And he said in front of a factory floor of workers, if they try to move your factory to Mexico, I will charge them a 40% tariff on bringing cars back, and they will pay every cent of it. And whether he does that or not, they never heard that from a politician. They didn't hear it from Obama. They weren't hearing it from Clinton. They weren't hearing from anyone else. So a lot of this sort of the low expectations of voters is a result of the politics that we have, the political system we have right now, where our politicians simply, they leave the grievances of large swaths of America unvoiced and unrecognized. So that simply by voicing and recognizing these grievances, you can win.
And I agree with you guys there. We're in total agreement with that. But what I'm also saying is that we can say this because this is correct, but we also have to say that, guess what? He said these things. he's also not following through, because comes from my conversations with quite a few Trump supporters, is they're being fed this idea that, well, he said it and then he did it, but it's not following the reality. And I think it's irresponsible for us to let people fall into that trap.
Well, I just don't think he promised the outcome. I think he just said what he was going to do. No.
He's promised the outcome. He said, I saved these jobs with Carrier. He specifically, and he's tweeted about, he didn't. He didn't. Because the CEO of the company came out immediately afterwards and gave a press interview saying, I'm going to automate the company. So he's not saving 20,000 jobs.
He saved some jobs.
And we're not disagreeing there, but you're
saying he didn't.
He saved, no, I'm saying he's ineffective. I didn't say he didn't save any. I said he's ineffective. I said what he's doing is he's doing the Obama, and that's what I'm saying. Is he's doing the same thing as Obama and inflating these numbers, but nobody's calling him on it. And if we're going to call one, we should call the other. So we don't disagree. But I'm willing to call him out even further than people are.
Trump is absolutely lying as it relates to how effective his negotiations with these companies are. But if we're looking up that, objectively, but if you relate that to Obama, as Nick is saying, he's infinitely effective, because anything is better than nothing. Any job saved is better than no job saved, and any job saved plus acknowledging that jobs are being lost over not talking up NAFTA and the TPP is better than saying, oh, the jobs are fine. Jobs are up, actually. Have you seen these new job numbers? Like, job growth is great in America. So what, they're all at the Gap. So what, they're all at McDonald's. Jobs are up,
Yeah, so my point that I was saying is regardless of if it's effective or not, he's out there pretending to actually stand for people's interests and acknowledging that they're legitimate grievances, and that's something the Democratic Party has just outright failed to do.
Absolutely.
And because they have failed to do this, and they probably will continue to fail to do this, it spells a lot of trouble moving forward, right? Because if too many people are out there selling, are trying to sell the dream, eventually somebody could actually come and really be about the message, but nobody's going to believe it because they've heard it all before.
And we don't disagree there. We don't disagree there at all. I am in 100% agreement with that. But what I'm also saying is, let's also take that other step forward, because we can't let whoever's in the Oval Office paint this idea that they're so great without being like, nah, really, you did this. You promised this and you delivered this. That's what I'm saying.
I don't feel the need in an episode where we're speaking specifically about Obama's legacy and talking about his actions that I feel the need to criticize Donald Trump whenever I have a critique of a Democrat. I just don't feel that need.
Well, if you're going to bring up Donald Trump, then if you're going to bring up Donald Trump, you open up the door to criticism. And if that door to criticism is open, you can't really deflect with saying, "Well, I don't feel it's necessary." No, if you're going to bring it up, it's open.
No, I mean, I just put my critique down. I don't have to feel the need to add in something for some reason.
And what I'm saying is, if you open the door, I'm going to walk right through it.
I didn't open it.
You did by saying Trump was more effective, so therefore you open the door to criticism.
Allow me to comment real quick. I agree. So we have to hold Trump, quote unquote, accountable. We can't, though, because this is America, so there's no way to hold the president accountable, guys. But whatever, once they're elected. But so we can't. But just like it's dangerous to pretend like Trump is going to be an improvement of Obama, he's not. It's dangerous to oppose Trump simply because he's Trump. But yeah, we can't forget that some of the most progressive legislation, probably the most of the past 50 years, has been done under Republicans. EPA. Yeah. The last time minimum wage was raised was under Bush. And so people who are out there opposing Trump simply because he's Trump are hilariously partisan. They are partisan to their graves, and it's going to bury them. And part of that partisan need is the need to, if I say something bad about your team, you have to say something bad about my team. Or, we have to, this is not a balancing act. It's like
I'm not saying to be partisan. I'm simply saying that if you're going to open the door like that, and I'm going to critique it. I don't care who it is, and I don't care what your policy is. And that's the only point I'm making there.
It's fair, but I mean, honestly, the critique wasn't really valid to the point. It was more of taking a jab at Donald Trump that was unnecessary. I mean, it's true. It's definitely true.
I don't see how it's unnecessary. But
it's not necessary. The larger point was that at least the optics of the situation is that Trump is actually going out there to deal with the exportation of jobs and the disinvestment in the American workforce. And that is something that Obama really did not do, at least not on the ground level. Maybe he was working at it behind the scenes, but he did not use the bully pulpit in the way that Trump is using it. And that is really what got him in there. And so to say he's not as effective as he could be theoretically is not really an argument against that. Is not really a counter argument. But I agree that he had the information that he's been doling out there because he's Trump is largely untrue in terms of how many jobs he saved, and a lot of money going towards automation, which is going to cost more jobs, and automation itself is going to be a really big killer of jobs in the future. And how are we going to deal with that without a universal basic income in a post-industrial society and blah 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 blah. But we have to move outside of the space of creating this dichotomy between the Democratic and Republican parties. And because that's the point of this episode, right? That people are trying to create this dichotomy of Trump evil, Obama good, and they are raising up this neoliberal president as though he was somehow the bastion of all with progressivism, when just yesterday he was talking about Obamacare and why Obamacare failed. Newsflash, Obamacare failed because it was not health care, it was universal mandatory health insurance that put too much power in the hands of the health insurance industry. He blamed Bernie Sanders.